Sean Diddy Combs made his way into a criminal courtroom this week. His trial kicked off, and well, we've learned a lot, but I'm very, let's just say, I'm not buying what the prosecutors are selling right now. Let's just give you some overview. So, as many of you guys know, Diddy is right now facing both sex trafficking and RICO charges. The federal government is saying that he was the mastermind behind a huge criminal enterprise, and so they're going after him. Now Diddy's facing anywhere from 15 to life in prison right now. And it's kind of strange because the opening arguments that were made, the statements that were made by Diddy's own attorneys, pretty much said, yeah, we know he abused his ex-girlfriends. You're going to see footage of that. But Diddy's not here because he was abusive towards his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, that you see here on your screen. He's here because the federal government's accusing him of RICO and sex trafficking, and they can't prove that. And so for the last few days, I followed this case extensively and I've listened because Cassie has been on the stand for several days now talking about what she had to endure as Diddy's ex girlfriend for almost a decade. And folks, don't get me wrong, he's a horrible person. He's obviously abusive. He obviously got her involved in drugs, but it doesn't feel like a racketeering case. Now, obviously, I followed a couple of those. And I also don't feel like this is sex trafficking. The government's trying to sit here and say because the two of them engaged in sexual acts with male prostitutes, that house somehow equates to sex trafficking. Now, we don't know if these people cross state lines to make their way into these sex parties known as the freak offs. And Cassie herself openly admitted that she was paying these male prostitutes in cash. Now, of course, that money came from Diddy, she alleged. But, folks, it's not a slam dunk for the federal government. And they're actually doing a pretty poor job at making their arguments. Now, keep in mind, the lead prosecutor in all of this is James Comey, the former FBI director, his daughter. Okay, so keep that in mind, lead prosecutor. There's also a total of 8 lawyers on the prosecution side of all of this, all females, of course. And so it's all just very, very strange because yet there's no slam dunk in this case. I still have not seen any type of evidence regarding racketeering or sex trafficking, but there's a lot going on. Now, what the prosecutors did show on Wednesday was this. Take a look at these hotel photos. Now, you saw the assault taking place back in 2016 on Cassie, and it's absolutely devastating to watch, but they show this. These are the aftermath photos of the hotel inside. Now, Cassie said she was involved in a freak off. She wanted to leave because it suddenly became violent. And when Diddy went into the bathroom, she tried to flee. You saw that footage of the aftermath. And this is what looked like inside the hotel room. Apparently, Diddy threw a vase of some sort and it hit the wall. And that's what you're seeing. That's their argument. So, yes, is he a violent person? It appears so. But he's not being charged with domestic violence or assault or blackmail. Cassie said she was blackmailed into participating in a lot of these things because he had recorded her engagement in these sex acts, these sex parties, and he used it against her. Now, folks, there were so many people who were trying to come forward and talk about this, but did he quickly lock them down into NDAs or quickly just paid them off in brown bags? We heard from the security guard who responded to that 2016 incident. He said that Diddy gave him about $100,000 in a brown bag and told him to shut up. And he did just that. The money is a lot. It's very extensive. You might recall back in 2018, there was an individual named Jonathan Audi. He is a former porn star. He was also, and he's currently being held right now in jail for allegedly trying to shoot up a Trump hotel in Miami. That is the individual you see right now on your screen. Now, many of you guys probably heard about him. He came out and said that Diddy and Cassie hired him as their sex slave. Uh, in case you missed it, and I'm going to play the audio for you, he details and he makes a lot of accusations throughout this interaction he has with police. But we have like a little bit of a snippet of this part where he details his relationship with Diddy and Cassie and the lawsuit that he filed and how much, well, I guess how he settled for it. Take a listen.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Cause what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay, For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they didn't. Did Mark Eros and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so.
Okay, did you hear that? So he's admitting that he contracted herpes during his sexual encounters with Cassie. Now, again, we don't know if Diddy engaged in these sex acts, but Cassie did take the stand on Wednesday, and she admitted to engaging in sexual acts with Audie, the guy that you just saw there. She also admitted that, and this gets a little weird, uh, after those freak offs, she suffered some injuries. One of those that she details was she was getting mouth sores from the freak offs. Now, you heard him just say that he settled his lawsuit because, well, he contracted herpes. Cassie on the stand saying that she had mouth sores. Doesn't say that she has the actual virus, but says mouth sores. Allegedly, that man settled and signed an NDA, according to reports, for $5 million to shut up about it. $5 million. Folks, this is completely strange. So there's herpes allegedly at these freak offs. I thought it was extremely interesting because it reminds me of the time that I covered a story about R&B singer Usher. Usher was also sued by several individuals, both women and a man, and they alleged that he exposed them to herpes as well. Now, Usher got his career started in the music industry, obviously, and was very close with Diddy. He, in fact, even admitted to Howard Stern to staying at Diddy's home when he was a teen. So just think about that. Is it possible that Usher may have contracted the virus while at Diddy's home? Maybe he was at one of these sex parties? Well, we don't know. But there's a lot of evidence that these freak offs caused. Let me just say it like this. There's a lot of evidence. I'm trying to be as particular as I can because I want to make sure we're being as accurate as possible. There's a lot of evidence that these freak offs resulted in a massive herpes outbreak throughout members of Hollywood. That's the reality. Now, we haven't heard any other celebrities being named during the trial, besides Kid Cudi, who's a rapper who Cassie said that she had a relationship with, but doesn't say anything about any diseases. Does say that Diddy did threaten him, and that's why she ended that relationship. But again, folks, this is massive. These freak offs likely resulted in a massive STD outbreak, and everyone's just missing that angle from it. I thought that was very interesting. I also want to bring up the fact, again, the prosecutors aren't making their case in regards to RICO and sex trafficking. Now, I get it. We're just into week one of all of this. Who knows what they have up their sleeve? We don't know the exact witnesses they're going to bring forward. We do know, though, that there's still one witness, victim 3, who is MIA. They're missing. The prosecutors haven't been able to make contact with this individual, so we're still waiting to hear about that. We also heard that another victim in all of this is really scared to come forward because she fears for her safety, and rightfully so, because Diddy seems to be making threats to a lot of people. And even that guy you just saw on your screen, he also said that Diddy has made people disappear. So again, folks, I don't know what's going on with this case right now. It feels like the federal government is fumbling on this one. Diddy might not be convicted. If he is convicted, it might be the fact that his attorneys really aren't the best attorneys that he probably could have gotten. One of the best parts about being an independent journalist has to be the fact that I get to handpick our sponsors for this show. It is an honor to do just that. And that's why I am so thrilled to partner with FernValleySoaps.com because, folks, they believe in the same things you and I believe in. They are a goat milk based product line based in California, and they create products like soap bars and lotions. They just recently launched this one. It's the Amber Alert soap bar, and 100% of the profits are going towards fighting human trafficking. That's something that we cover on this show constantly. You know I'm very passionate about that. So head on over right now to FernValleySoaps.com. Take a look around. They have so many incredible products that you probably didn't know that they have. And folks, everyone who buys from them can't stop bragging about them. I know, I use their products. I love their products, and they smell and look amazing. So head on over to FernValleySoaps.com, and just because you're listening to today's show, you're going to get a discount of 20% off when you use that promo code BRE. That's promo code BRE at checkout. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. I am a big fan. I use this every single day. Their handmade goat milk lotion. It's incredible. It's not sticky, but it is great. So head on over to fernvalleysoaps.com. Take a look around. Use code BREATHE. That's promo code BRE to save 20%. And the more you buy, the more you save. So again, folks, fernvalleysoaps.com. Promo code BREATHE.